Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. And Fred, we got several emails this week. You can email Fred directly. It's fred@planttalkradio.com. Or you can just go to our website, planttalkradio.com, and click on the Ask Fred button. This email came in from Louise, and she says, I have some raised beds, and I've been adding bags of soil to them. But I've found out that the soil still packs down. Are there any amendments that I could add to keep the soil from compacting?
Well, yes. And I'm going to go pretty much to the organics, and I'm going to think about peat moss as one of the primary things. I'm going to think of degraded or biodegraded mulches that you no longer want to look at, and they're getting too thick, etc. You can rake that up and blend it in. The odds are the bagged soil, the odds are the structure has been destroyed. Now, I don't want to condemn all bagged soil. However, that's probably what has happened by digging it up, putting it in the bag, bouncing it on a truck, bouncing it off of the truck, stacking it at the nursery, whatever. A lot of the times the actual structure of the soil is gone, and that's why it continues to settle and give you trouble. So, anything organic, be it your own compost, be it old mulch that you can scrape up and blend into the soil. Peat moss is excellent. Anything of that nature that will biodegrade once it's in and mixed in. If it's really properly composted, that portion of it is already done. Then you put it in the soil, and the billions of creatures that are in the soil will eventually digest it, and you therefore need to add more. I'm going to elaborate to this extent. I had a spot that was rock hard clay. I worked at it for 3 years, getting enough organic added to make it pretty decent again, planted some permanent plants in it, and then continued to work the rest of the soil in the garden. Where the permanent plants were put in, that soil turned pretty much rock hard and cracked open again, whereas that I kept adding amendments to stayed pretty friable and so on. So I hope that will help you. I would go almost exclusively to organics. Grits are okay, but you got to be careful that you don't add that and then get it wetted down and it turns to concrete on you. So
when you say grits, you mean like sand?
Sand, yes, and sharp sand, builder's sand type of thing. But you've got to add so darn much to keep from getting into this cement-like situation that I almost always recommend just plain organics.
So if you have some, like, for example, you could scrape your old mulch off, and is that what you're saying, basically, and throw it in and mix it in?
Exactly. And then that gives you the new look. When you put down the new, it keeps you from building up too much depth in mulches, old and new, to stop the air movement and water movement. So it's actually a two-way benefit. You're getting rid of the old, you're putting it to use again, and, the nurseries will love you for buying more.
There you go. Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Howard and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Circle270media.com